Hi, I'm Jack.shilley and welcome to the Allotment Project. In today's episode I'm going to be focusing on trying to clear the rest of the site as there's only a small portion left to go. We're over halfway now, and I'm also going to be putting some weed suppressant matting on the surface and installing some lawn guards around the edge of the plot to try and stop the weeds and the lawn from coming into the plot once it's clear. As you can see, I've made a little bit of progress here already in clearing sort of strips up and down is what I'm working on at the moment. Then what I'll do is I'll rake it off. In this weather you don't want to have weeds on the surface of the soil because the soil is nice and damp, it's moist, it's humid, the weeds are going to re-root straight away. So in raking it off and ensuring that there's no weeds left on the surface should ensure that nothing takes root again once you've cleared it. With regards to planting, we're not quite ready to plant anything yet. I have got some raspberry canes which I'm very excited to put in, but that'll be in a couple of weeks time once the site is properly clear. And yeah, so there's plenty for me to crack on, so let's get started. So that's another fair bit of digging and turning over weeding done, and there's not a great deal amount of the plot left actually, so hopefully with me coming back down here tomorrow or maybe finishing it off sometime next week, this whole plot should then be cleared, apart from the pumpkin bed, just going to be a whole project in itself. However, I'm going to take a brief break, like I said at the introduction to the programme, just to go and put some edging along that side, because already the turf and the weeds are starting to creep in from the bit that's not maintained by me in the middle. So let's crack on with that. So this is my lawn edging here. Now this is a durable plastic lawn edging. It's quite tall, and basically what you do with this is you unroll it and then stick it in a trench, which I have sort of created here. I do need to dig it out a little bit more again, and then insert this. Usually if it's in a lawn or a path, to the level of the path, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this just a little bit higher than this, because the soil level in my plot is higher than the grass on the other side. So in making it higher, the soil inside is going to be contained and it's going to stop the weeds from coming through on this side as well. So if I just take this cardboard wrapper off so we can get to it, that's all it is. It's quite flexible, so you can take it around corners and possibly even cut it, although I'm not going to be cutting mine. But that's a decent height for what I want it, and that's going to ensure that it keeps this lawn out here and make sure that the plot looks nice and neat. Sometime in the future, hopefully next year, maybe in the spring, if I can get hold of some old wooden planks or some scaffolding boards, I'd like to put a wooden edge around the site rather than just a plastic one, but that's a while off yet. Okay, so it's actually quite an awkward thing to install and get right, this edging. However, it has gone in, it is at the right height, and although a little bit wonky in places, it's going to do the job until I get something a little bit more permanent, a little bit straighter, as in like some wood, to frame the plot next year. But what's that going to do is that's going to stop the soil from coming out of my plot, because the soil level in there is actually quite high. And it's going to stop this grass from spreading into it as well. So a nice temporary fix, I think, for a problem that I need to deal with. Now what I was going to do with this soil here was cover it with a layer of weed suppressant matting. However, I have the weed suppressant matting, I just don't have anything to really peg it down with. So I'm going to leave it, and actually if leaving the soil that's nice and turned over like this or like that, and letting the frost get to it, breaks up the soil, makes it a lot lighter, a lot more sort of fluffy. And it also kills off any nasties that's in the soil as well. So it is actually a good idea to, if you're turning soil over at the moment, give it a couple of weeks, or maybe just a week. If we're going to have a frost, that's perfect. Kills off any nasties, makes the soil structure a lot nicer, and then you can cover it. And I'll try and find something to properly peg it down with rather than a half measure this time around. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to carry on digging this over. I'm going to leave it uncovered so that the frost can get to it. I'm pretty sure we're going to get a frost in the next couple of days, and then cover it next week. That's all we've got time for in this week's episode. I'm going to carry on doing a bit of weeding as there's still some more to do. I've shown you a little bit more of the progress in terms of my digging, weeding, rotivating, and in how the plot is looking at the moment. It's looking a lot better than it was. It's over halfway done now, and as I said, there's only this small bit at the end to do. I've also shown you the start of the edging that I'm going to be using. It's a temporary measure to keep the lawn outside the plot out and to keep the soil inside the plot in. Hopefully in the spring, like I said, I'll have some more sort of nicer wooden boards that look a little bit more decorative that I can use to line the plot. But the edging I've got at the moment is a good start. So join me next time when I'll be carrying on with the edging around the plot. Hopefully the plot will be weeded, so I'll be able to plant in my raspberries. I might plant my onion set, which I have at home, however, it's getting a little bit late for those, so that might not happen. And I should also hopefully have the weed suppressant matting ready to go. Thanks for tuning in, as always, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out.